Yeah, it's a good. Oh, yeah, you weren't here last time.
We built this place just for you. So it's all good.
I feel it. It's like a warm hug. That's what I
go.
say.
All right, good. All right, let's get this party started. All right, good morning.
Good morning.
And welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Central Texas. Look, we have help over here. Where we think more expansively, love more completely, and live more joyously. All right, woo. All right, thank you very much for being here this morning. Thank you to Glenda for a wonderful meditation. Yay. Yay, God. And we're looking forward to our friend Lisa Clark filling the room with her dulcet tones, as it were. Let's start by saying our opening affirmation, which is on the top of page 4 in your programs. And we'll read this together, and it says, "We believe that there is an infinite power and wisdom that creates everything. We are expressions of the same power and wisdom. The thoughts, beliefs, and expectations we entertain with the most energy become our experience of life. When we change our energy and our attention, our experience changes to match." All right. Our friend Miss Melanie has a birthday this coming Friday, so everybody reach out to her and tell her bon voyage, good journey, right, as they say. Today we're celebrating Eric Satie, who I love his solo piano music, Dewey Redman, who's a great sax player, Dennis Hopper, the actor, Taj Mahal, Bill Bruford, the drummer for Yes and King Crimson, that has filled my life with joy, Bill Paxton, the actor, Bob Saget, Sugar Ray Leonard, who will get you with his left hook, Enya, or Enya. And then at the other end of that spectrum, from the great meditative Irish tones, we go to Trent Reznor of Nine Inch Nails.
And also, our dear friend Ernie shared this coming Friday with Melanie.
Oh,
the
did he?
22nd.
Okay. All right, cool. I didn't know. I don't remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet man. And still being a sweet man. All right, I'd like to invite Glenda to come up and do an opening reading and treatment.
Okay, from our Science of Mind magazine. In the busy hours of the day and the long hours of the night, we all live alone in our thoughts. So let's become our own best friends. Let's learn to take ourselves for better or for worse and undertake the guidance of divine love. Let's enter into a new faith in the power greater than we are. All right, so let's take that into our hearts and into our minds for a moment as we just feel the peace of that, the peace and the presence, the divine love, the divine intelligence of our Creator, our source, our supply. And so as we feel this moment, this presence, I know that each of us are guided and directed to be here, to partake, to be open and receptive to the gifts of this moment, of this service, of this philosophy, of being here now. And so it is with love and gratitude that I invite each of you to know the truth of who you are, to live your life, your gifts, your divinity, and find your sacred place in this world and do your work. We are all called here to do something, to be something, and to have something. And that something is within us. And so with grateful hearts, I just give thanks for each and every one of us here, for the music, the message, and for this wonderful world that we do live in. And so we give thanks, and so it is.
So it is.
Now, Lisa, thank you.
Time flowing like a river. Time beckoning me. Who knows when we shall meet again? If ever, but time keeps flowing like a river to the sea. Goodbye, my love, maybe for forever. Goodbye, my love, the tide waits for me. Who knows when we shall meet again? If ever, but time keeps flowing like a river, on and on to the sea, to the sea, till it's gone forever, gone forever, gone forever more. Goodbye, my friends, maybe for forever. Goodbye, my friends, the stars wait for me. Who knows when we shall meet again? If ever, but time keeps flowing like a river, on and on to the sea, to the sea, till it's gone forever, gone forever, gone forever more.
All right. Thank you, Lisa. Yeah. All right, and this morning I want to look at the importance of pattern recognition, how that plays in so prevalently in our lives. And you might say, well, yeah, Walt, I get it. Recognizing patterns is important and it plays a big part in my life, but it's really not a spiritual topic for a Sunday morning, is it? And I'd say, I can see why you would think that, because I initially thought that myself. But then I had to remind myself that in the living of our lives, there aren't hard lines drawn between practical things and spiritual things, because all life is a spiritual experience. Just as we discussed the 4 areas of life. We have health and prosperity and relationships and career. We look at that like it's 4 quadrants or something, but there aren't hard lines separating those ideas, just because everything kind of blends together into one mix. And yeah, at times we can focus our energy and our attention on one area if we want to make adjustments or expansions in that area. more than another, one segment more than another segment, but they're all involved in the living of our lives, which is why when you work on one area of your life and you improve something about that area of your life, it influences positively the other three areas of your life, right? You get your relationships figured out a little bit better, your work and your health and your finances get better, you know, because you have one consciousness that you're bringing to all four areas, okay? And I think one of the problems with our traditional religious trainings that we've been offered throughout the years is that they present the segregation of a spiritual life and a secular life. And there's not. You're living one life. And it's as spiritual or as secular as you choose to let it be. And it was the elimination of that separation between spiritual and secular that first attracted me to this wonderful teaching of ours. Science of Mind is a very practical spiritual philosophy, meaning it's not just applicable on Sunday mornings and inside of cathedrals. It's a recognition that spiritual laws are active and present throughout all aspects of our life. It happens when we're inside the church building, and it happens when we're inside the bar. Not that there's anything wrong with being inside of a bar. But here's the thing. It's active and happening when I'm out in the alley behind the bar regurgitating what I imbibed in the bar. Not that I would know anything about that. Anything about that. But spiritual laws, their reliability, don't stop at the property lines of the church. They're in full operational mode all day long, all lifelong. So the more often we remind ourselves and each other to include and consider them in the secular living of our lives, the better it is for us, and by default, the better it is for everybody around us. And since all of us are around you, we would appreciate your consideration in this matter. Okay? All right. Our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, says, "The law of cause and effect is the law of perfect balance, the logical sequence of inevitable consequence." And I never ran across this before. I'm sure, I know I have, but I've never put it together before. The idea of sequence and consequence. With sequence, really, is what consequence means, right? Because we have any kind of sequence, we're going to have a consequence. We're going to have a cause, we're going to have an effect. So, awareness is the beginning of freedom. We all know that. That's why we do this type of work for ourselves. Paying attention to our environment helps us understand how nature works, how life works, how we can work with it better. And there's sequencing in seasonal changes that we're getting now. There's sequencing in weather patterns. There's sowing, there's reaping, there's yin, there's yang. There's start of life, growth, expansion, regeneration, and exploration. There's patterns and cycles and sequences everywhere, in everything, all the time. And the longer we notice these patterns, the more comfortable we become with the change sequence that we observe. Because we start to rely that when we see this happens, we're pretty sure that that's going to happen next, right? And the longer we watch that sequencing from this to that, the more we experience it personally, the more comfortable we get. Now, we live in Texas. Yeehaw! Right? Hell yeah, as we say. And summertime in Texas means
Hot.
hot. Right, we all know the answer to that. Right? So far, I gotta say, this May, we've been kind of faked out with the starting and stopping of that inevitable heat we know is coming and the usual thing. And I am not complaining or anything. I'm just enjoying and observing, right? I'll take whatever relief we can get now, any kind of delay, because we all know inevitably what's coming in the next few months, right? And that's not a bad thing. It's just a thing, right? Personally, I enjoy the heat. I find it comforting. Now, someone once told me that the reason I like the heat is because I'm acclimating now to where I'm going to spend eternity. So we'll see if how that goes. But I do find heat comforting, right? Not that I'm anti-air conditioning. We got it going on back there right now, right? But I use it in the house some, and I occasionally use it in the car. Usually I don't use it in the car. I just let the windows open and let the breeze blow through my long locks of hair. Yeah, in the midst of summer, don't get me wrong, I enjoy walking into the blasting AC when I've been outside in the heat and entering the store. As many of you know, I went through one summer here with no AC on purpose, okay? To break that cultural habit pattern of, oh, we got to have AC, you got to turn it on. It's April the 15th to turn on the AC, right? But you know what? As a species, over our history, we've spent a lot more time without AC than we've spent with AC. Right? And eventually, like all things, we kind of just acclimate to whatever is. That threshold of whatever it is becomes normal for us. And we realize that life goes on when it's 97 or 105 or 27. Right? Maybe life moves on a little slower in the heat, but it moves on nonetheless. Now, just to complete the cycle, FYI, I went one winter here without heat. Now, in Texas, okay, maybe that's not such a big deal, but there was definitely some times where it was a big deal. But it's not the same because you can layer up with hats and coats and long johns and jackets and whatnot. At times when it got really bad, I would go into the shower, go into the bathroom, turn on the steamy shower, and have a little brief moment of warmth. So I wasn't completely without heat, but there was no furnace ignition in the house. Now I could do that because I lived by myself and I didn't have to accommodate anybody else at the time. So, and the dog just took whatever was going on. But it did get quite nippy at times that year. So pattern recognition helps us understand and know what's going on now so we can extrapolate that and figure out what's most likely to happen next. And it helps us process and navigate what we can do now and helps us set our expectations about what's the likelihood of our success at whatever we choose to go, whatever direction we choose to go in. Tabitha Boyajian, that's how we say that in Texas, says the human brain has an amazing ability for pattern recognition, sometimes even better than a computer. Even better than a computer. But pattern recognition, it's hardwired into us, right? So I believe that anything that's hardwired into us must have a divine purpose, and I believe the purpose of recognizing patterns is that ultimately it gives us and brings us peace of mind. Peace of mind, which is the driving motivation for most everything that we do when you get down to the 7 layers of why you're doing something, right? You strip away all the cultural programming and pressuring and the ego-based desires. What we ultimately want is peace of mind. So we get up, we get out, we get busy doing all kinds of things that promise us, at the end of the journey, peace of mind. We get in a relationship so we can feel included and connected because it gives us peace of mind. We get a job so we can make enough money so that we feel secure and feel peace of mind. We stay healthy so we can engage life at a bigger level. And ultimately, you guessed it, it's for peace of mind. Right. And pattern recognition helps us make sense of our environment and the people we're sharing this environment with, and how to process and navigate the things and the people and the opportunities that come before us. This all starts very, very early on when we first start here on this plane of action. Because as babies, we take in data from our physical bodies, but we also take in data from our environment. And we notice things happen, and then we notice other things happen. And then we notice something happen, and then we notice other things happen. And we notice this repetition of patterns that brings us to a level of understanding, which brings us peace of mind. There it is again. And when we finally accept the importance that peace of mind plays in our motivations of why we are doing whatever we're doing, we can start to reverse engineer the process and our efforts to more effectively get us headed in the right direction sooner rather than later. Karen Armstrong shares, against all the depressing and chaotic evidence to the contrary, life has meaning and value. It does. Life has meaning and value when we decide life has meaning and value. Right? So we observe our environment and we notice how those around us are moving, how they're speaking, how they're reacting, what their opinions are, and we naturally accept that as normal because it's what we know. It's what we start with knowing. Yet we're also hardwired with the desire and the inclination to fit in and be accepted. So we equate being included in the group with safety from the saber-toothed tiger, which isn't around anymore. Don't worry, they'll clone it back. So we mimic behavior. We mimic language. We mimic dialect. We even mimic pacing. And so we'll sound like one of whomever the group is we're with. And we start to dress alike, we eat alike, we share values and vision and expectations. And those around us in the beginning phases are our initial role models. And then we live longer and we get exposed to other groups and other people in other settings, and we realize that some people are different. And our lizard brain initially interprets different as a threat. Oh, it's different. Gotta watch out. They're different. You gotta watch out. But in an infinite universe, different is just the wallpaper of our existence. And when we stay in one place for a while, or stay in one situation, we start to crave different. And at the same time, we're craving consistency at the exact same time. And we're such funny creatures because we will encounter different, we will seek it out, and we'll find it. And we'll encounter different and we'll interpret it from what we currently know and like. And trying to defeats the purpose, the expansive purpose of finding different in the first place. We try to make different conform to what we're comfortable with to make us feel familiar. And you got to think, well, where's the logic in that? We want a pattern interrupt, and our attention is drawn to a pattern interrupt, and then we want the pattern to stop interrupting and get back to so we can feel something we recognize and feel normal and in control. We want control, we want consistency, we want familiarity, yet we seek the thrill of the unknown at the same time. And that's not to drive us crazy. It's to invigorate our senses, to expand and energize our experience and our sense of personal possibility. Alfred North Whitehead is how you say his name. Strong name. Says, art is the imposing of a pattern on experience, and our aesthetic enjoyment is a recognition of that pattern. So pattern recognition is active throughout every part of our life, and we start by observing, and then we start to assimilate, and then we start to imitate, and then we repeat that, and we start to innovate and eventually improvise. And we take whatever expression we were initially attracted to, and then we make it uniquely our own. See, our life is full of role models, our whole life. And we try to emulate those people because there's some quality in them, there's some activity, there's something they do or say, or the way they interpret or their perspective that goes, wow, okay, that's intriguing to me. And so we want to imitate that, right? In the beginning, it was our family. It was our immediate community. And then it became our friends. It became people that had enjoyed similar activities to us, okay, whatever those activities were. And later on, it becomes historical figures and philosophies and cultures near and far that we get exposed to over our studies. And lately, it's become social media influencers. Because you might not think you're following social media influencers, but you are. And it's not the difference is not in the dynamic, the difference is in the delivery vehicle. Okay? Henry Ward Beecher shares, we sleep, but the loom of life never stops. And the pattern which was weaving when the sun went down is weaving when the sun comes up in the morning. Life goes on, man. It goes on and it goes on and it goes on. And what we eventually realize is that for all the difference in the patterns that we can recognize, there are similar patterns to the different patterns, right? A consistency to the divergence. Because all things are made of the same stuff. All variables are changing at the same starting point, and there are patterns and paths to the expected divergence and destinations. Because everything is connected. Everything is connected. And it's all happening within this dimension, all operating within this physical and spiritual laws. Somebody will ask, and the latest thing is, well, are there other dimensions? Alternate universes. Or would it be universi? Universes. Universes. I'm going to stay with that. I'm sure there are in an infinite universe. There's got to be more than what we can see and sense and experience, right? If it's truly infinite, which it is. I'm sure there are. But I'm also sure that in those other universes, there are some patterns and building blocks going on that it's based upon. The point is, when we encounter something different, someone different, we may feel the ego need to jump in there and start trying to get some momentary superiority by denigrating their differences. But life is the process of is about processing and navigating variety with our current abilities and resources the best we can. And we don't have to do it like others do it. And others don't have to do it the way we do it, believe it or not. True. But we start by mimicking someone's successful attempt. Say, hey, they did it. If that guy can do it, anybody can do it, right? And we attempt and move around and beyond whatever is there. And that at least gives us a place to start our expression and our own personal processing and navigating of whatever's before us. Dr. Holmes goes on, he says, we are not limited by actual boundaries, but by false ideas about life and by a failure to recognize that we are dealing with the infinite. See, we think we have boundaries. We don't. We are expressions of an infinite universe, an infinite divine intelligence. But we have false ideas about ourselves. We are told false ideas about life and about ourselves, and we hear it often enough and we go, oh, yeah, okay, I guess that's true. That's why we do our regular spiritual practice. And we'll talk more about that next week as we continue the series. Look, we're all going to go your own way. Go your own way. Yeah, you're going to go your own way anyway. You're going to put your own unique spin on whatever you're doing. But the really cool thing is that we get to choose, and I mean at any moment we get to choose and change whatever that way happens to be. You can be going on a way for hundreds of miles for decades and decide, meh, I'm over that now. I'm going to try something else. Because how many times have you decided, that's it, I'm moving to Atlanta. That was me. I'm going to get a fresh start. And I go to Atlanta, and guess who shows up? Me. With all my same shenanigans and stuff. And guess what I had? Sequence, consequence. We soon realize that life isn't really about being the perfect imitation of X, Y, or Z. It's not. It's about moving from here to there, from this to that, from now to then. And we can adopt the patterns that others have used that have worked for them to help us get started. Great, do it. But we'll soon be creating our own patterns, figuring out our own twists and takes on those patterns and offering our patterns to others to help them get started. because we're not doing this life alone. We're not. We're not doing this life alone. We're sharing this adventure. And we can offer all of our perspectives, all of our realizations, and all of our experiences to help those around us make sense of all this, find some sense of peace of mind in their life, and help each other move forward the next bit the best that we can. And so it is now. All right. Thank you very much. Now let's look at our weekly affirmation, which is at the top of page 6 in your program. And it's also on the little cards by the front door as you exit the building. And let's say this together as we take this time to come together in consciousness. And it says, as I pay more attention, I notice more similarities in the forms, people, and behaviors around me. There is a divine intelligence behind everything, and it expresses uniquely in each form. I see the possibility and consistency in all people, situations, and in all of life. All right. So let's just take a moment and give ourselves the gift of our good attention. We can just take a deep breath or two, close our eyes, or reposition our physical form, and just know a greater truth about life. Know and feel and experience and affirm a greater truth about ourselves as expressions of that life. And recognize that everything is emanating from the same source. It is all made of the same stuff. It goes through very similar processes. And while the end result might be very different and in a wide variety, there's a divine something behind all of it that is a connecting factor. There's a divine something behind all of us that connects us in ways that we forget and that we deny too often. As we start to get more present, get more aware, start to pay more attention, we start to realize that there's similarities in our experiences of life. There's similarities in the design, even though it may not look like it in the beginning. There's similarities in the people and the way they behave around us. We recognize that this divine intelligence uniquely expresses itself in each and every form for the time that it expresses as that form, and then it changes form and it goes and it fills that expression. And that eternal sequencing continues. We've experienced it our whole lives. We're experiencing it right now. We will continue to experience it as we move forward. And we understand that the possibility and consistency is in all life, is present in all people. It's present in all situations. It's present in every aspect of our life. The ones we're aware of and the ones we're oblivious to. It's equally present, equally active. We love this wonderful teaching in all the ways it shows up in our lives and reminds us of the wonderful spiritual principles that are eternally at work, moving in as and through us in each and every moment of our lives. We love this community of like-minded individuals that love and support each other in all the ways we get to do that throughout the week. And we love this wonderful time together this morning, this wonderful life, this beautiful city, this wonderful day, as we engage it at a deeper and more meaningful level because of our time here this morning. And we take this with us as we move forward and we leave here today, and let this shift that we feel now continue to be active and prevalent in our thoughts, our deeds, our actions, our reactions, our interactions. And the more we do that, the more we are expanding, providing something life-affirming and expansive into the collective mix. And the more that's there when we need to draw upon it for ourselves individually. We love all this with deep joy and gratitude. We release it with complete joy and celebration into the law that is already responding to it, making it so, and bringing to our attention new opportunities and new possibilities and new interactions available to us all the time. Loving it all, we say together. And so it is now. All right. Okay. And now we come to the time where we support this wonderful work we're doing together. We take the value we receive from the world for the value we bring to the world, and we pass that along with love and appreciation. We'll say our giving affirmation in the middle of page 6 there together. And it says, divine love consecrates my gifts. They go forth to heal, to bless, and to prosper. They are evidence of my commitment. They do their good and perfect work and return to me multiplied abundantly. And so it is now. And now Lisa's going to do a couple more songs for us. Are you playing anywhere we can come see you? And
I don't think I have any public things, but I'm
all
working.
private.
It's all private. I'm working a lot. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
great.
good.
Yeah, very grateful.
Mhm.
Thank you, Walt. What a beautiful talk. Yeah. Wow. Life isn't easy, it's uphill, believe me, whether you're weak or you're strong. Sometimes you feel like you're back on your heels and everything's going all wrong. Through the confusion and all disillusion, somehow still life goes on. I found a cure I know works for sure, and we just keep rolling along. So bring on the trouble and burst every bubble. I promise it won't change a thing. I always find I can find peace of mind. Still flies like a bird on the wing. What's going to happen is still going to happen. The one thing that you can count on. Don't fix what ain't broken while Willie's still smoking. We'll just keep rolling along. Woo! Yeah! Woo! Oh, yeah. When everything fails, I relax and inhales till all my worries are gone. So there's my cure, it works for sure, and we'll just keep rolling along. So bring on the trouble and burst every bubble. I promise it won't change a thing. I always find that my peace of mind still flies like a bird on the wing. What's going to happen is still going to happen. The one thing that you can count on. Don't fix what ain't broken while Willie's still smoking. We'll just keep rolling along. Oh, so bring on the trouble and burst every bubble. I promise it won't change a thing. I always find that my peace of mind still flies like a bird on the wing. What's gonna happen is still gonna happen. The one thing that you can't count on. Don't fix what ain't broken while Willie's still smoking. We'll just keep rolling along. Yeah, we'll just keep rolling along. We'll just keep rolling along. Yeah, all right. Here's one I know you all can sing along and maybe even dance. Woo! Left a good job in the city, working for the man every night and day. And I never lost 1 minute of sleeping, worrying about the way things might have been. Big wheel keep on turning, proud Mary keep on burning. Yeah, rolling, rolling, rolling on the river. Cleaned a lot of plates in Memphis, pumped a lot of pain down in New Orleans. But I never saw the good side of the city till I hitched a ride on a riverboat queen. Big wheel keep on turning, Proud Mary keep on burning, rolling, rolling, rolling on the river. Ba-do-do-do-do, 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 ba-do-do. Woo! If you come down to the river, bet you're gonna find some people who live. You don't have to worry, 'cause you have no money. People on the river are happy to give. Big wheel keep on turning, Proud Mary keep on burning, rolling, rolling, rolling on the river, yeah, rolling, rolling, rolling on the river. Ba-do-do-do-do, 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 ba-do-do. Woo! That's by the Mavericks. You betcha. I was thinking about you the whole time I was working it up, Miss Glenda. Yes, I'm guessing he wrote. I didn't look up who the composer was, but it was the Mavericks. Yeah.
Yeah, and all I have to say about the last song is rolling on a river. All right. Where else you gonna hear that on a Sunday morning?
I found that it is.
No,
It's about life.
no,
Roll.
it's all
It's a
good.
spirit.
No,
It really is. I never
no.
thought about that until today. Thank
It
you,
is,
Walt.
it is gospel. It is the gospel. All right. Now we come to moments of gratitude where we celebrate moments where we've applied this teaching or spiritual principles and good things, great things happens, or we have awareness. I'm grateful that tomorrow night I'll be at the Elephant Room with 18 of my good friends squeezed onto that tiny little stage. But you can come hear some good jazz for that. And I'm also grateful we got to travel to Houston this weekend, take care of little dogs that the parents were out of town. And I say little dogs, I mean like little dogs.
Aw.
But I'm grateful that my bigger dog is going to be coming home this afternoon after this. So, yay for dogness. Anybody else have something to share? Yeah, Donna.
I have some really wise friends. I think I mentioned a couple of weeks ago that another friend of mine passed away
Mhm.
from high school and college. And I was asked to come, but no pressure. And they wanted me to deliver the eulogy.
Mm.
And I thought, oh gosh, all the excuses. It's expensive to get there. It's hard to get there because they live in a smaller town. No planes go into this town. And, all the stuff. And I was talking to Lisa. And I said, I don't know if I'm going to go. And she says, well, we're driving.
Well, you might. Yeah.
And I thought about it, and yes, I would go. So I'm going next weekend.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and I'm real pleased that I get to go, and they sent a note to all the speakers yesterday, and they said, we want it to be joyful.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
I shall deliver.
All right.
Yeah, and, one of the best memories I have of her is she loved my singing. And her dad was a masterful pianist. And I remember him sitting at his little Steinway grand piano, and Jill asked me to sing her favorite song, and her two little kids at the time were just sitting on the floor looking at me.
And what was that song?
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
So I said to Lisa this morning, I don't know if I'm gonna sing, or not, and now I am.
Yay! Yeah, you've sung through tears. Yep.
Yeah.
It'll be beautiful. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, and we'll talk about that more next week, but we create patterns in our life, and then we want to fall back into them, and all the justifications and excuses we give are just like it keeps us in our little place, and life's about stepping out into your comfort zone and being bold, and you are a gift to the world, and the more Donna we get shared with us, the happier we are. So it's all good.
Yes, indeed. And you know, it's interesting. I just want to say, our conversation, you know, it reflected from something I'd gone through a similar thing. I had someone dear in my, so it was like an uncle to me, make his transition, and he lived in Northern California, and I didn't think I was going to go, but then it was just like, no, I have to go, and yes, I'm going to sing, and yes, and that happened just weeks before we spoke about this. So, thank you, God. Yeah, so
Yeah, yeah.
grateful.
Yes, Clark.
I'm grateful for the opportunities, especially recently, the people who have called me and asked for treatments.
Mhm.
I mean, that's kind of a new step, you know, because it's been very infrequent or sometimes not at all, you know, the outside requests. But it does show a level of trust, and I'm not grateful that they're going through the things they're going through, of course, but I'm grateful for the truth and above and beyond, you know, their experience, their current experience, and it just feels so good to do that, you know, not just the request, but the doing of it
Right.
is really it enriches everyone involved in it.
Yeah.
You know, and so I'm just grateful for the opportunity to exercise that practice
Cool.
and do what I can, you know, from a distance, you know,
Right.
or do what spirit can, or elicit that, you know, on their behalf.
And I'll just point out, you create a pattern of, through the work you've done to become a practitioner, you created a pattern, and your availability is a pattern, and people recognize that, and then it's like, oh, you reach out to Clark, he can do, you know. And I would encourage everybody, you know, reach out to the practitioners, man, because it's like, one of the biggest joys I've had in my spiritual journey was being at the Asilomar conference and being a practitioner in the practitioner room. And there was like, I don't know, 1,000 people at the conference. And there would be just like people come in and you do these little short treatments for like 4 hours straight, man. And you're just like, whoa, you know, because every time you do a treatment for somebody else, you're treating for yourself anyway.
Yeah.
And you get to, they benefit, but you benefit. And you're not, the power is, you're not all caught up in their story and all their background and all that. It's just like, I know the truth about you. So, yeah. So yay God for that.
Yay.
All right.
I think
Yes, Philip?
Yeah, I retired 4 years ago, and my wife and I moved here. Primarily, one of my primary directives was trying to research and understand my roots. I only knew that my grandfather was born in Kansas. So a couple months ago, I started to get into this, and then like 3 weeks ago, the spirit of my great-grandmother introduced herself. And it was very graphic and very obvious. And then 2 weeks ago, I like invited her to come and visit me. And in the middle of the night, I woke up, sat down on my grounding mat on my bed, and started to interact with this spirit. And I ended up, after a few minutes, channeling her. And I've never done anything like this in my life. I'm a little bit skeptical of things sometimes, but this began to happen like flowing just naturally. It gave me 3 directives. And so the first one being to help my mother's spirit. And so last week, on Thursday, I had a session with this ancestral healing guy about my mother and really got into it and had this deeply impactful experience where one of her ancestors, actually I'm pretty sure that's her grandfather, came and helped usher her off. And now I know I've got two guides, one on my father's side, my great-grandmother, now one on my mother's side, my great-grandfather, who are very positive energy for me to counsel with as I move on, and they can help police me. So that I can, correct my behavior somewhat better as I begin to get, like closer to transitioning. But at any rate, so I'm very grateful that I have these two very positive energies to work with that are very well now known to me that I can call on and work with.
Cool.
So, I'm very grateful.
All right, cool.
Cool.
There you go. Did you want to say something? Or?
Oh, no, I was noticing
Oh,
Phil.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know.
Thank you.
All right. Let's look at the opportunity for application in your life. Homework. It says, take a few moments this week to get present and pay attention, extra attention to all the patterns in the variety of life expressing around you. See how there's an organization to it all, because there is, man. Yeah. All right. And as I said, next week we will continue pattern recognition. We're going to talk about personal growth through pattern recognition. Our musician will be Lee Barber. Happy birthday to Melanie and Ernie on Friday. We didn't talk about. I did talk to Patrice yesterday, and she's selling her house and moving back to Austin. That's been her recent change. But her GoFundMe is still active. If you can help out with that, help her in that transition. The next book study is going to be Thomas Troward's The Creative Process in the Individual, which is a lot easier to read than the Dore lectures and stuff because it's written. It's not a transcription of speaking and whatnot. So we'll start that in a couple of weeks. Watch for that. And this coming up Wednesday, I'm presenting the regular spiritual practice workshop here, 6:30 to 8. It will be in person here, but it will also be simulcast on the big screen on Zoom, and there'll be a link with the things to go out. But I think regular spiritual practice, I know we say it all the time, but the important part is that there's a reason that I push this or that I encourage this, or that I nag you about it, because it's the biggest, quickest thing you can do to make positive change in your life, man. You don't have to believe in anything. You don't have to be religious to be. You already are spiritual, and all it is. I was thinking about it today that you don't put all your monies in savings, because then that doesn't work either, right? You got to take care of some stuff. You got to get the money moving and whatnot. But you take a portion of your money or that's how I was trained. Is you take a portion, you put it in savings before you do anything else. And that's the same thing. What we're doing is we're filling our spiritual, psychic, energetic, emotional bank accounts and putting deposits in there so that there's something there to draw upon when we start making the inevitable withdrawal. So it's a good way to do it, and it'll be easy overview of different things, and the purpose is to help you design your own personal spiritual practice, whatever that looks like. So there'll be an email. It'll be on the website, on the Facebook group, and the link for Zoom will be on there as well. And I'd like to thank Bob for hosting us here and making that possible. So, all right.
See it listed as costing, it doesn't, and if you have any trouble getting on, there's a link.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Oh,
about
I
it.
had a question about that. Do they have to put in the password?
There,
There's a meeting ID and a password, and sometimes if there's a password set up, you have to enter the password.
yeah, if okay.
I'll
meeting
just-
ID and password will get you in.
Okay, all right. So I'll send out the password along with the meeting link, so it'll be all good. All right, let's look at our closing affirmation. Say this together as we get ready and go enjoy this beautiful day. Oh, wait, we have 5 more minutes. I get to do a second talk. Or maybe we'll just do a second donation. All right. No, we'll get out a little early today. That's all right. That's all right. Let's say this on page 7. It says, I am an expression of infinite divine creative intelligence. Knowing a joyful serenity awaits my recognition and acceptance, I take this moment to deepen my understanding that I am perfect, whole, complete, and dynamic. My soul is forever established in life, love, light, power, peace, beauty, and joy. I lift my eyes to the divine in me, those around me, and in all of life. I walk out into the world with an uplifted heart and a mind open to the infinite creativity of all life, and so it is now. All right, thank you very, very much, and we will see y'all next time.